right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm here with Shahzad Gidwani. Shahzad, how are you tonight?
Very well, thank you. And I hope all the listeners are doing well as well.
Awesome, glad to hear you're doing well, and I also hope everyone listening, hope you're doing well, whether it's the morning, afternoon, or night. Hope your day's going well. But Shahzad, thank you so much for being here. Super excited to have you. For those of you listening back home, Shahzad is a sales and marketing multicultural team leader. So I'm excited to dive into that and just hear a little bit more about his background. So do you mind starting us off with a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you're doing, all that good stuff?
Sure, why not? You already introduced me. My name is Shahzad Gidwani. I'm based out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. My background stems mainly from the Middle East and working in parts of Europe and Asia. I have been involved in sales and marketing for the likes of Ericsson, LVMH Group, the Swatch Group, the Richmond Group, the Samsonite Group, to name a few. I have been also involved with some individual standalone brands like Orlov and Ivanka Trump. It has been an interesting journey to move from telecom to luxury and luggage being part of the mix as well.
Okay. Awesome. And now sales and marketing, that's where your background is. That's what you're doing right now. Is that something that you've always loved and had a passion for, or what got you to sales and marketing?
Yeah, it's always something that I had a passion for. I got my bachelor's degree in international business and marketing, and that's what piqued my interest. The work I did at the university and also the first internship I had with AT&T as part of their marketing team got me really interested. Currently in Canada, I'm the director of business development and marketing for uh, commercial real estate brokerage. And also, as of next month, I will be an instructor at one of the colleges here teaching global business management. So that goes correct, absolutely in line with my goals and my passions.
Awesome. Well, first of all, congratulations on that big, big exciting new chapter of being at the university teaching.
Yeah, it's something new. I've never done this before, so it should be interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I definitely think it should be interesting, but I think it should be good. And like you said, it aligns pretty well with your goals and your passions.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I know that you said like your degree and kind of you talked about a little bit is international business. Um, why international business? Why not just like, business, right? People go to school for just regular business or international. What led you to the international side of it?
So when I actually decided to come and study in the US, it was mainly to do business. And it was interesting that the University of Indianapolis, had a course with the name International Business on it, and it got me interested. So I went through the course outline. It was like this is perfect. I would love to know, how to work internationally since I was an international student. Why limit myself just to business when there is an option of international business? It gives you a peek into international economics, how economies of other countries work. It's not restricted to one type of economy, it goes through all economies. Gives you a feel of international business laws, which differ from country to country, and the nuances. And of course, learning cultures is the icing on the cake.
Okay, so it sounds like almost if you just get like a degree in business, you're going to learn just kind of like the business practices of whatever country you're in. Whereas if you take that international route, you'll still be familiar with like your specific,
The basics,
country
what,
where you are, but you're going
yeah,
to learn a lot about others as well, right?
yeah, the basics would be the same, I'm sure. I mean, business
Mm-hmm.
practices are there are some basic rules of business practices, but when you take it to international business, you get a flavor of what's happening across the globe. Because
Right.
business is done differently, maybe the basic principles are the same, but the nuances change literally from country to country.
Sure. Okay. And you mentioned, the University of Indianapolis, right, is where you got your degree?
Correct, that is correct.
Awesome. So, what led you to wanting to be an international student and coming to the States for your degree and how was that transition for you?
living in the Middle East, there were not many options of having a higher education there. So my
Okay.
transition into Indianapolis was it's an interesting story because I first started going to the University of Indianapolis' campus in Cyprus,
Okay.
which is a little island in the Mediterranean,
Yeah.
and then transferred from there to Indianapolis. So that started my journey as being interested in experiencing international travel, so to say,
Hmm.
and that also played a key part in picking international business.
Okay. So I guess how did that come about with like starting it in Cyprus and then coming to the States? Like, was that planned or did that just kind of happen the way it did?
So it was planned in a way.
Okay.
The goal was wanting to study at a university in the United States. Times were hard in the late 80s. Cyprus was less than half of what the US would cost, so it
Okay.
made sense to start there and then transfer out to complete the last 2 years in the US. That way, you get same quality of education, and you end it in the US with a degree from the United States.
Okay. Got it. And now, Shahzad, I know you've mentioned like you're originally from the Middle East, and then you spent some time in Cyprus, working on your degree. Then you came to the States at Indianapolis. Now you're in Canada. Can you walk us through like a timeline of like how long have you lived in all those places that you've been?
Okay, so originally Indian. My parents are from India. My father moved to the Middle East, to Kuwait in 1960.
Okay.
I was born in Kuwait,
Okay.
69. Went through high school in Kuwait, then transitioned to Cyprus in 88. Spent literally 2 years there till
Right.
the summer of 1990. Unfortunately, during the Gulf War,
Mm,
we were all stuck in Kuwait, so lost a whole semester, being trapped in a war zone from July 1990, all the way up to December 1990, or sorry, January 91 when I actually got to the US. I
okay.
spent 3 years in the US, got my double degree there, international business and marketing. Did an internship with AT&T, and then had a good opportunity to move back to Kuwait and start working for Ericsson. And that's where my professional life started.
Okay.
Started with selling cell phones for Ericsson, then moved on to being in sales and marketing for small business systems, which was related to my internship at AT&T.
Okay.
Then I got the opportunity within Ericsson to start selling networks to operators, the likes of Bell and Rogers, or in the US, I would say Verizon.
Okay.
Uh, After that, I did a couple of years in one of the operators, heading their business to business team. Then I was picked up by a company to handle or head their complete luxury division, is where I got exposure to all the nice luxury brands by LVMH, Richemont Group, Swatch Group, the list goes on. And
Okay.
I did that for approximately 10 years before moving to Canada in 2020, right bang in the middle of COVID.
Mm,
So it's been an interesting journey.
yeah. It definitely sounds like it. And I mean, Shahzad, it sounds like from just kind of the journey that you've been on, right? I know that you're highly qualified, you're a very accomplished individual and everything. So I know that you've gotten to where you are in life with a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of time and energy. But like, do you attribute anything specific to how you got to where you're at? Or do you think it was a mix of like that hard work, but also maybe some good luck at times? Or I guess like,
Absolutely,
okay,
absolutely, yeah. It is a lot of hard work, a lot of grit, persistence, and as you said, right, you need luck on your side
okay.
to get you these opportunities and take you from place to place. And doors need to open. Sometimes you stick your foot in the door and you push it open, and that's
Yeah.
when you need luck to have the strength to push it open. Or sometimes you just need the right person to observe you and give you that opportunity,
Hmm.
and you have to jump on the opportunity. I think you cannot think and say you can't think twice. Fear comes in the way you're going to say no because you're coming out of your comfort zone. But getting out of your comfort zone changes things and it helps you learn, and that is the road to success. And for me to start teaching as early as next month is actually coming out of my comfort zone. It is a subject that I'm passionate about, but it's something I've never done. And having no fear to start something new at 53 works well for me and keeps me going. Yeah.
I really like that. I like that you're sharing that even, even though you're established in your career, you've been in the business world for a long time, like, you're still challenging yourself and still stepping out of your comfort zone, and it's not just something that, like, we're supposed to do when we're 20 or whatever, it's something that we should do throughout our whole life, step out of
It
our
never
comfort
ends.
zones. Right.
It never ends, right? I mean, I would never
Exactly.
imagine that I would be doing marketing and business development for commercial real estate.
Yeah.
I've never done it before, but I started it. It's been a year. It's been an excellent ride. Thanks to that, we've opened new doors. We have brought in new companies into Canada. Uh, it's something different for me and for the brokers that I work with.
Yeah.
Together we learn and together we grow, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So, Shahzad, maybe this is going to be a little bit of a practice for you before you start teaching at university next month. But to anyone that's listening to our podcast right now, who's maybe they're early in their careers, maybe they're in university, maybe they just got out of university. What kind of advice would you have to someone who is trying to figure out what it is they want to do or how to get to the next stage of their life in their career?
So I think that changes from person to person,
Okay.
but the basic advice I would give is, get out there. Go with what your passion tells you to do. You may not make a lot of money in the beginning. I know the goal is at some point to make money, but if you're not happy doing what you're doing, all the money in the world cannot buy that happiness.
Mm,
Don't get into a trap where you're just chasing uh, a job or a career that will get you money, that you think that will get you money, but it's not going to feed your passion. Go with that. Uh, uh, if it doesn't scare you, it's not going to get you anywhere. It needs to shake the ground under your feet, and that's when you know you're going to succeed once you accomplish that.
I
It's
like
that
that.
just getting over that bridge. Sometimes you got to build that bridge. It's not there.
Mhm. Okay. So let's say that someone has this big passion for, I don't know, we'll just like use, I guess, maybe me as an example, right? So like I love this podcast. It's something I'm really passionate about. But to me, I'm like, hey, I'm not, making enough money on it for it to pay all my bills. So let me work like a full-time 9 to 5. And then when I'm not doing my job, I'll do my podcast and I'll try to make the podcast to where that does become my full-time job. Do you think that that's a good strategy, or do you think
That's a
like,
super strategy.
okay,
Uh, you're creating your hobby to your profession, right? That's what you're working on.
okay,
Remember this, it could take a lot of time and it
yeah,
even may not happen.
right,
You may change your passion. You know, you have your full-time job, which is paying your bills. This is your side gig, which you
mhm,
want to make your main gig, right? Down the road.
yes,
This is where you want to live off. You want to be a podcaster, an influencer, a person who makes a difference, and you're chasing that goal, which is beautiful, but it's not
okay,
going to come easy.
right, right. So you think that that's a better strategy for anyone that might be in the similar situation versus like going all in on their passion, even if it's not
If it doesn't
really
pay your bills, or if you don't have parents who are going to support you or a super trust fund, you need to pay your bills because
okay.
you do not want to hurt your credit scores, your credit history. Reality still stands, right? I mean, the
Yep.
world is not going to, they're not going to fuel your passion for you. You have to
Right.
fuel your passion.
Right.
And what you're doing with your full-time job is fueling your passion. And at some point, it's going to be running on its own.
Right. Okay, perfect. I love that you have this perspective on it because I think a lot of times maybe you read a book about someone or you YouTube a video and it's someone that's really successful and they say like go all in, quit your job and go live, on the floor of your friend's house or apartment and, eat dollar menu food or whatever and just like go into debt if that means chasing your dream. And I mean, maybe that has
It may
some.
work for someone.
Sure.
I'm sure it works for a few, but for if you see, I mean, if I look at startups and businesses, what 75% of them fail in the first 2 years.
Mm, okay.
That's reality, right? I mean,
Yeah.
those numbers are they're numbers. You cannot doubt them.
Right.
But you still have that 25% who did make it. You
Yeah.
could be one of them. It really comes down to, are you willing to take that risk?
Yeah.
Me personally, I decided not to take that risk for all this time, but now I am playing with that because I have saved up enough money to take those risks. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what you're doing, is that you're building this nice corpus of money which you are using for your podcasts,
Right.
right? And these when these kick off, it's going to make you more money than your full-time job, and that's when you're going to switch over and start investing in yourself.
Right.
So I guess it's each person's path.
Mm-hmm.
If it works, it works. And there are some of these super successful people who have had an incredible trust fund,
Right.
which they could lean on when needed, or they had rich parents where who they could lean on. It makes life easier for them. That's not the case for everyone. There are some success stories, but there are very few and far apart.
Yep.
That's not to say don't do it. I think it's really up to you. It was not for me.
Did you ever question whether it was for you or not, or did you always know it wasn't for you?
I did think about it,
Okay.
but I knew that was not for me. It was a risk I did not want to take. Maybe I'm risk averse. I mean, risk averse,
Mm-hmm.
but that's my nature, and that seems to be the nature of many. But there
Yep.
are some people who are brave out there, and they will do it. And hats off to them, and God bless them.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm with you. I would say I'm pretty risk adverse as well, so I like calculated risk, and I like making sure that all my affairs are in a line before trying something new or taking a potential risk. And I think I think what Shazad was saying is important to anyone listening. Like you could go all in, and that could work for people, and it has worked for people, but just make sure that you're making the decision that you feel 100% comfortable and
Yeah,
confident in.
and don't get pushed by peer pressure, or, as you said, watch a YouTube and make a decision. You need to actually sit down, take a piece of paper, put the pros and cons, give them a point each, and see what the numbers say.
Mm.
And if your heart still doesn't agree with it, uh, then you know what to do. But
Is is that a strategy that you use? Like you do the pros and cons and like you give numbers to the pros
I
and
do that.
cons?
I do
Okay.
that many a times, right? If it's a big decision, I would actually sit down and say, okay, A, do I need to do this? Yes, no, right? Do I
Uh-huh.
want to do it? Yes, I do. Is it a need? No, it's not, right? So you start breaking it down, and you see the impact it has on your life and on the lives of people who are around you or dependent on you.
Yeah.
If you have a family, you have kids, your decisions could have a direct impact on them and their future. And
Right.
that has to be taken into consideration as well. I think if you're single with no responsibilities, it makes it easier to take bigger risks.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. And now with your experience just from, as you were walking us through that timeline, you've lived in different places, you've done some traveling, you've gone kind of back and forth. Do you think that that's been a positive experience that you would recommend anyone to get that kind of travel and go live different places, experience different cultures if possible? Or do you think that that could be more difficult than maybe it might sound fun?
So yes, it is fun. I'm not saying it's not fun,
Hmm.
but the amount you learn from traveling and spending time with people in different countries and different cultures is the most valuable education that you will ever get,
Okay.
because you will understand how people think, how different people think, what what gets them going, what turns them off, and you will learn how to do business in different countries. You will know how to handle them. You will learn their nuances, what works for them, what doesn't, what do they
Okay.
like, what they don't. Because when you get into the business world, regardless where in the world you are, the world is shrinking. You will deal with people from across the globe.
Yeah.
You will have to try to learn their their expressions, the looks on their face, the body movements, all that is different from place to place. The words that they use, the context that they use them in. And No one can teach you that. You have to learn that from experience. And traveling and staying with the locals and mixing with them is what will teach you that.
Mm. That's a lot of good advice and good tips that I mean, honestly, I feel like not many people probably would think of it. I mean, there's some of it that you're saying, and I was like, wow, I hadn't thought about how important that is. But like you said, no matter where you are in the world, if you're in business, you're probably going to be working on a global scale, and just being able to pick up on the communication and the body language and the facial expressions and gestures of other cultures is important.
Yeah, and even if you're in a job
Hmm.
and you're working for a multinational company, say you're working for the likes of Microsoft,
Okay.
as you are going to get exposed to people across the world because that product is sold across the world,
Hmm.
and you may have to deal with people who are not from your culture, who don't speak the same language as you, and you need to understand them. They may or may not speak English. They may speak little English, but they will try to get their message across, and you have to learn that. Right? I mean, the fact that they don't speak English means they speak more than one language already, right? So
Right.
they're already ahead of the game.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
So I think it's extremely important to experience different cultures. And even if say you're living in Canada or the US, there are people of different cultures there as well. Mix with
Yeah.
them. Make an effort to go to their traditional celebrations. Make a few friends from every culture so that you get a feel of it at least. You may not get the opportunity to travel. You can create that opportunity, but you have the opportunity to meet people from all over the globe anywhere you are.
Yeah. That's a really good point. You don't necessarily have to travel or move somewhere completely to experience the cultures of others, and to get to know people from different cultures and their background. I think that message. When it comes to actually traveling, like, do you think just like even traveling somewhere for a week would be beneficial, or do you think like to get the full experience, you should, go for a year and live there and really get entangled with the culture?
So, if you go for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks, it really depends on you. Are you going to go and sit in a hotel room or in the lobby and just be there, or are you going to get out on the street and start talking to locals and mixing with them? That's
Okay.
great. But if you get an opportunity to go, say you're working for another multinational and they have an opening in, I don't know, in Singapore, take it. If they're going to send you for 6 months, go. I did that when I was in Ericsson. There were projects that I would have to go stay in Stockholm for 15 days. I would jump on it. Sure, let's do it. Right? You learn so much by getting your hands dirty with them.
Hmm.
You understand the company culture, and you also understand the country's culture.
Yeah.
So you actually kill two birds with one stone. So the
Right.
opportunity comes knocking on your door, open wide.
Okay. And now you've talked about how kind of like taking those opportunities and, going to different places and experiencing the culture and stuff. And it sounds like, you were always interested in doing that. You jumped on those opportunities. Was there ever a part of you that was like nervous about it, or like, oh my gosh, I've never
Every
been this
every
okay,
single time, every
really?
single time. Yeah. And
Okay.
that's what makes it exciting, right? Imagine you get on a plane and you land in Geneva at 10 o'clock at night, and whoa, you don't know what to do. Or you land in Stockholm and you're there in a hotel or an Airbnb, and you're like, okay, what next?
Yeah.
Right? But you just get out there and face your fears because people are usually nice. People will help you.
Right.
All you got to do is ask. So it's you get nervous and anxious every single time, no matter how many times you've done it.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of it, right? That's
Yeah.
when you know that you're going to be learning and it's working.
So it goes back to kind of what you're saying about stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yes, exactly. It's
Okay.
not easy to leave your comfort zone and go to a completely new country
Right.
where you don't know anyone and you got to start making new friends. And it's not easy, but it's a lot of fun. And you'll be surprised. You'll make great friends everywhere you go. Just, open your heart and have an open mind.
So, to someone who might be listening to this right now and thinking like, "Oh my gosh, like this sounds awesome, but I cannot get out of my comfort zone. I'm too nervous, I'm too scared, I'm too anxious, I'm too worried about it. Like I just really struggle with getting out of my comfort zone." Like, do you have any tips or advice to someone who really struggles with that?
just do it. Like, all I can say
Okay.
is just do it.
Yeah.
It's scary for each and every person, but that is the route to success.
Okay. And now,
Exposure will help you succeed. Exposure to the world.
okay. And from your experience, Shazad, like if you feel nervous and anxious, like you said, like you always do at the start of these, experiences, do you start to, does that go away the more that you're there? Or is it kind of like the whole time you're there, you're still kind of feeling a little
Oh,
out of your comfort zone, nervous?
it's just the first 20 minutes,
Okay.
just to get out there and start.
Yeah.
Once you're out there and you start, take a deep breath and you go for it, and you'll be good.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like you're meeting, going for a new date, right? You're nervous in the beginning, but once it starts, you're good. You know how to maneuver. And that
Yeah.
happens every time you visit a new country. Just take it as I'm meeting a new person, right? And let's see
Hmm.
how it goes. Have
Yeah.
an open mind.
Yeah, it's kind of like we know, like our body, our mind, we know what to do in these situations. It's just like kind of that initial,
Correct.
we get in our own head and we psych ourselves out and, we worry when really we know it's going to be okay.
Exactly. And as you say, right? Half the battles are within you. They're not outside.
Yeah.
We overthink everything.
Yeah. So when you talk about things like overthinking and just kind of like stepping out of your comfort zone and just going out there and doing it, that all kind of connects back to me to like mindset. So like how is mindset just like played a part in your life and your journey and I guess how did you shape your mindset?
So it had to be. It takes time to shape that, right? I mean,
Mhm.
uh, you, I still get nervous when I'm coming out of my comfort zone. So, example, when I was going to start this teaching position, when I was applying for this position, I was like, wait a minute, I've never done this before. Should I do it? What What am I going to learn? I'm going to learn a lot,
Yeah.
but it had to be. I had to get my mind to accept that, take on this challenge. Right?
Okay.
You've done it before, do it again. But it is a battle every single time. It's not that because I changed so many times, the next change is easier. Change is always difficult
Okay.
because it's a change, right?
Mhm.
You changed, now that's become your comfort zone. And now you got to change again. So wait a minute, what am I doing, right?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Why am I restarting? But that's half the fun, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So yes, mindset is important. As I said, you need to have an open mind and an open heart.
How can you make sure that you do have an open mind?
Force yourself to do it.
Okay.
You have to fight your demons and say, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. It takes time, but only impossible is impossible, right?
Right. So when you've stepped out of your comfort zone, whether it's to go to a different country, whether it's to maybe try a different job, internship, meet a new person, whatever it might be, whatever example you can think of where you stepped out of your comfort zone, can you think of examples where you've done it and it's been, a failure or it went poorly?
That's a good question. Have I got out of my comfort zone and it's not worked?
Yeah.
Okay, need to think about that one.
Okay.
I'm sure there are times that it has happened and I go like, what have I done? But I will still complete what I started,
Okay.
right? Because you learn from those failures.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did step off my comfort zone uh, here in Toronto when we first came, when the
Okay.
job market was hard. I got into a company which is retail coffee, right?
Okay.
And I was out of my comfort zone. I've never been in the food industry. I've never worked with food. That, I'm going to do it. What have I got to lose,
Okay.
right? Uh, I said yes. I started. I was managing reopening of their boutiques in Canada. And 3 months down the road, I was like, no, this is not for me. This is not what I signed up for, right? But I learned a lot because I learned something about a complete new line of business. I learned a new product, and I also learned that this is something I don't want to do. So guess what? It was a learning experience, right? All learning experiences cannot be good. You
Right.
have to learn from some hard experience, and this was a hard one. I used to find it very difficult to even go to work sometimes. But I'll
Yeah.
say, listen, I've made a commitment that I'm going to do this for the next 3 months. I have to stick to that. I have to have grit, stick to it, If I don't like it, I'm going to learn what I don't like about it so I don't do the same thing again.
How
Right?
did you keep that mindset of like,
Not
I'm
easy.
miserable, I don't like it, but I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to keep going. Like I feel like a lot of people would just quit.
See, that's you go to college, you go to university, you got to
Yep.
do subjects that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pass them to move on, right? To the
Right.
next to the next course, to the next semester. This is the
Right.
same thing. This is a stepping stone to the next phase of your life.
Hmm.
It's teaching you, listen, you got to learn this because you're going to learn something new. And you also learn that this is something you don't want to do going forward.
Yeah.
Right? So take it as a learning thing. This is university of life, right? You're going to learn, move
Yeah.
on, not like it, no problem. I need to pass this course and go to the next level. I don't want to quit purely because I've committed, and commitment is something that is valued by each and every company and each and every business. Tomorrow, if I go and ask them to be a reference, they won't say no because I completed my task with them. I decided to go a different route, but I haven't burnt any bridges.
Yeah.
I've completed the task. They were happy. I was happy that I completed, but this is not what I want to do going forward.
I
So they
love
have
that.
nothing bad to say about it. They have
Y-
nothing negative to say about
Right.
it, right? In fact, it's a positive thing because you did something which you did not like, completed it well, and accepted that this is something you don't want to do.
Mm.
So it's positive. You change a negative to a positive.
Man, I just listening to you talk, I just really appreciate and respect your mindset of like even how you could take a negative that's, you're miserable, you hate it, you don't want to do it, but you turn it into a positive of,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't enjoy it and I'm not like, happy that I'm doing this job or whatever it might be, but here's what I'm going to learn from it. Here's how I'm going to get to the next level. Here's how I'm going to keep my commitment and what I'm learning and how I'm going to apply that in the next opportunity.
And that's exactly what I did when I went for the next interview for the current position I have at the brokerage. And they asked me what was the last thing I did in Canada. I said, listen, I did this, I didn't like it. I learned from it, I accepted it, and I move on. And they appreciated that. And they actually asked me, what if you don't like this? I said, say I don't like what I'm doing with you, but I'm committing to something with you. At the end of that commitment, if you think that it's not working out, we can agree and we can move on. And that conversation happened over a year ago, and things are moving on, and everyone's happy. So
Yeah. I like that because I I don't know. I guess for me, I've never thought about working a job as kind of like a commitment I made, right? Like I think about it as like, oh, it's a job, like pays my bills. I agreed to it. They agreed to have me. I agreed to be on the team, whatever. But I never thought of it as like this is a commitment that I'm making, to the company, to myself. I always
to
just kind of,
yourself,
yeah,
it's more to yourself because the company can replace you, right?
okay,
But the commitment you make to yourself is is a goal that you're putting on yourself,
okay,
right? I mean, this is more to yourself, and that of course
mm,
is to the company as well because you're
sure,
saying yes to them. But tomorrow, if you don't keep your commitment, you walk off. There's not much they can do, but you've
right,
burnt a bridge. And you know who failed in this condition? You failed. For them, you'll be replaced, right?
mm,
It'll take them 10 minutes to replace you, but it's on you. You broke the commitment.
okay. So when you're making your own commitment to yourself, what should that look like? Like, should it be like, okay, I'm going to take this job. My commitment to myself is to do this for the next year, or should it be like it just depends on the situation where you're at in
It
life, or like
depends on the
how long?
situation.
Okay.
It depends on the situation, right? Depends on the company. Most companies have a 100-day or a 90-day trial, right? And you say, I'm committing for the next 90 days because I need to know how it works out, right?
Mhm.
And at the end of it, or it's a project. Like I took on a project. I could have left in between. Uh, they're going to stop paying me, right? That's all they're going to do. But I complete the project successfully. You're happy. We shake hands on it. They offered me a new project to do. I said, sorry, this is not for me, but it was a pleasure working for you.
Okay.
It was
Makes
not about the
sense.
people. It was about the people were very nice. I made some
Hmm.
good friends over there, but this is not what I want to do. I don't see myself.
Yeah. And something that you've mentioned throughout this conversation is never, burning a bridge or, if you kind of go against that commitment that you make, you might be, burning a bridge. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast that throughout their life they've heard people say like, "Oh, never burn a bridge with anyone," whether it's, a boss, a company, a friend, whatever. But
Hmm.
why do you think it's important to not burn those bridges?
Because you don't know when those people are going to come back into your life.
Okay.
You just don't know, you know. As I say, there's 7 degrees of separation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a whole lot, right?
Right.
So things can come back. So and why leave with a bad taste in your mouth? Why? Do you gain anything out of it? Not really, right?
Yeah, not really.
Not really. So yes, you may have a disagreement, and you know you can agree to disagree and move on, and that's fine. But you're not leaving with a bad taste.
Yeah.
And that happens. Sometimes you agree to disagree and say, listen, our ideologies don't match and we just cannot work together, which is fine. At least you're accepting it. Whether the other party is accepting it or not, that's not on you, right? That's on them.
Right.
So they may want to burn their bridges with you, but you're not doing it. You're being transparent and honest.
Mm,
How they see it, you have no control over it.
right. It sounds like a common theme that I'm picking up in this conversation, Shahzad, is that like we need to really just focus on what we can control, not worry
Yes.
about the things that are control.
Yeah, correct. Just what other people do, think, and how they act is not in your control. Only
Right.
how you think, how you act, and what you do is in your control. You are the master of your destiny. They are not. They can
Ha-
have an impact on it, of course. So, but end of the day, you are the master of your destiny.
Have you ever struggled with getting caught up in trying to control things that you can't control?
Oh, so many times. That happens in life so many times. You know,
Okay.
you think that you have control over things, and you try to make things happen your way. But you know what? If it's not in your destiny, no matter what you do, nothing's going to happen. It's not going to go your way. It's a losing battle. And I think that happens to the best of us, right?
Right.
Who could control COVID, right? I mean, how many people lost work? We came here in COVID, we couldn't find any work. Do we have any control over that? None whatsoever. You just have to make the most of the situation.
Okay. That's a good example, and I was actually going to bring that up. So like when you mentioned you went to Canada at kind of like the start of COVID, and obviously COVID, it's out of your control, it's out of my control, it's out of all of our controls.
Yeah.
So in that situation, did you just really have to accept it and
Yep.
move
What can you
on?
do?
Okay,
What can you do?
that's okay.
Yeah. You got to ride the wave, right? And this was a nasty one, but you have to ride it.
Yeah.
Can
Okay.
you control it? Can you fight it? No.
So you just have to ride the wave.
You just have to ride it. And
Okay.
as they say, all bad things come to an end, and all good things come to an end, right? So nothing in life is permanent, right? So
Have you ever kind of been struck with that mindset of like things are going bad and you feel like it is permanent even though you know it's not? Have
oh
you
yeah,
ever? Okay.
you're just waiting for it to end, right?
Yeah.
Right? So even though you know it is going to end, but where is the light at the end of the tunnel? Is it
Right.
coming? Not coming, right? You know it within you that it's going to come, but it's just a long struggle. Imagine coming to a new country right bang in COVID and
Mm-hmm.
thinking, wow, am I going to get a job in 2 years? What's going to happen? Where is this going to end? Am I going to run out of my savings? Or at the rate I'm going, I will be running out of them.
Yeah.
But then things change, right? Life happens.
So when you are sit in that situation and you know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, you know it's there, but you don't know where it
When
is or when, what do you do in that time frame? How do you keep going and pushing yourself forward, even though you don't know when the end's gonna come?
it was a tough one, I can tell you it was
Yeah.
a tough one. There was a lot of breathing, a lot of meditation, a lot of talking to friends, just keeping your sanity, right?
Yeah.
I did a lot of volunteering work at that time to understand the market, kept myself busy, go for long walks. So you have to find a way.
Mm-hmm.
And my way may not work for you, and your way may not work for me.
Right.
It's
Okay.
destiny. It's destiny.
I know that you've said that a few times, Shazad. It's destiny, or just like what's meant to be in our destiny. It will or will not happen. Essentially, like what does destiny mean to you? Like, what's the idea of destiny, and like how is that something that we should all think about and have guide our lives?
You do your best, you work towards your goal, and you leave the rest to destiny.
Okay.
As long as you know you've done your best, right, and you have not hurt anyone in the process of doing that, success will come. Destiny will take over.
Okay. So it's kind of just like trust
Trust,
in.
trust yourself,
Okay.
and trust the universe.
Trust in
What,
yourself. Trust in the universe. Yeah.
yeah, what you put in, you will get out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Karma will play.
Do you think, even though we have to trust the universe and trust in our destiny, do you think are we in control of our destiny?
You are the master of your destiny.
We're
You
the
have
okay.
some. You're the master of your destiny. You have some control over it, but not all control over it. You
Okay.
can guide it. You can guide it, but you cannot decide on its behalf.
Gotcha. And then when you say we can guide it through doing things like
Yes,
focusing on what we can control and
correct.
okay.
Doing all the positive things.
Yeah.
Don't step on anyone, don't hurt anyone. You know, do the right thing, and then leave the rest to destiny because it will take over.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the idea of like we'll say like the law of attraction, for example, right?
Yeah,
Like
something like that. Yes, yeah,
kind of that destiny. Okay. So be good, put out good, energy, do good things for others, and that's going to come back to you in that karma sense as
correct.
well.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I,
Just don't harm anybody.
right.
You may not be in the position to good for someone, but you're always in a position not to harm anyone.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's something that's you know, when it comes to doing good for others or just to kind of put the goodness out there, I think another big aspect is to make sure it's genuine. It's coming from a place
Yes,
of good intention and genuineness, right? Like you don't want to just be someone that's like, oh, I'm gonna go do this for someone, but I don't really want to, or I'm miserable doing it. I think that the
or
universe
expect something
knows.
in return, or
It,
expect something in return.
yeah,
No expectations either.
yeah. I think just removing and detaching ourselves from the expectations or the results is so important because it's like when you go and do things just for the act of doing it and to help others and to be there and not
Correct.
expect anything in return, it's
And
just
move on, and
it's
just
more
move on, right?
powerful.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just move on.
Yeah.
Don't even wait for a thank you. You know what? You don't need that. You need to feel good.
Mhm.
If the thank you comes, it's great. If it doesn't come, move on. You've done your part, right?
Yeah. So you said a few different times, like, kind of just the idea of move on, right? Like if things don't work out, move on to the next one. If an opportunity falls through, move on to the next one. If you don't get that, thank you, move on. Um, have you always had that mindset, or have you had to work through where like you would kind of ruminate and hang on to that, like, well, hey, like I'm actually
Oh
really
yeah.
upset or
Oh,
annoyed.
yeah. I think it's a learning curve,
Okay.
and the more experience you get, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
But in the initial phases of my life, I remember when working at Ericsson, they would say, "Well, this is not working out," and you're like, "No, I'm going to hold on to this position. I just need to hold on," and you're not willing to take on the next challenge. But over time, it changes.
Hmm.
The more experience you get with being able to handle change, the better you get at it.
Okay.
It's a learning curve, right?
Yeah.
It's always everything in life is a learning curve.
Shazad, so I know, so did you say that you're 53 right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're 53, I'm 27. If you can
Wow.
think
Okay.
if you could think back when you were 27, when you were my age, Do you feel like you're the same person you are? You're
No,
or different? Okay, you feel like you're
completely different.
completely different?
Completely different. I
Okay.
was super aggressive, extremely angry. Uh, you know, I was, it was rage, right? Because things were not working out, and you want to jump and you want to, do things which it seems so far away, and things keep slipping.
Yeah.
Completely different person.
Okay.
And
So
that's it, right? Experience teaches you, and you change.
yeah. So I know you've
So,
said that like the experience is kind of what has shaped you and what you learn from, but
yeah.
like if you could go back in time and 20-year-old self and like give yourself like a piece of advice, what would that advice be?
Oh God, that would be like, chill out, bud. Life's gonna get better.
Yeah.
The only way is up.
Yeah.
Don't take everything so seriously. Don't take people too seriously. A job is a job is a job. It's not, it doesn't define you. Don't let your job or your career define you. You need to define yourself.
You need to define yourself.
That's what I would tell myself.
Yeah.
Don't become someone else's definition.
How can
You
we
know,
do that? Because I think a lot of
so
people struggle with letting others
it's
define
not
them or
easy.
letting their
Yeah.
job or their
They let
status as
they
a
let
student.
yeah, they let their status define them. You said it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the scariest thing. And that's where what was happening with me was chasing a status, and that was defining my goals. And I did that for quite some time, and was like, wait a minute, the status can be pulled away from you,
Mhm.
but your definition cannot. People remember for what you have done, and they don't remember for your position. They don't remember for your status.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something that we really need to work on. It's not easy because in today's world, it's so materialistic that status forms everything.
Mhm.
I mean, I remember when I was 27, I would dream about driving a Porsche. It was like, I want that car. I want that car.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I want it. Today, I don't care. It has no value.
Right.
But that changes over time, right?
Mhm.
But it's
Yeah.
it's a tough one.
Yeah. Definitely. And, this kind of made me think about like way at the start of this podcast when I was welcoming you to the show and I gave a little introduction of yourself to the audience, to all of our listeners. I talked kind of about who you are, what you do, and you went into that a bit. And, it's kind of like Shahzad, he does this. He is, this is his job, but that isn't your
That's
definition.
not
That
me.
isn't, yeah, that's not you. So
That's my job.
who are you? How would you define yourself since you are the only
Today,
one that can define yes, today.
today,
Yep.
today, today, I'm a person who wants peace of mind. I want to get out there and help people. I volunteer for multiple organizations which help newcomers and international students integrate into society. It's a volunteer position. I do it absolutely because I want to.
Mhm.
Uh, that's another reason I took on this position at the college to teach because I want to give back.
Yeah.
That's how I define myself today. I want to give back, and it's not about the money. It's about loving what I do, being at peace. I want peace of mind.
And you feel that peace of mind by doing what you love and what you're passionate about
Exactly.
and giving back.
Correct. And I still have the job to pay my
Yeah.
bills, right?
Right.
I don't let that go.
Right.
Just like you, right? You got to have that to pay your bills. So
Yep.
you need to be realistic, right? You need money. You cannot survive without money,
Right.
right? But that should not define you. I
Right.
want people when they talk about me not to talk about where I work, but how I've touched the lives of X number of people, which is not related to my job.
And it doesn't matter if you get paid for that or not because you're doing it
I
because you love it.
exactly.
That's awesome. I think that that's really cool, and I mean, I feel very similar. I think that, as we've both kind of acknowledged, like we have jobs and they pay our bills and everything. But, in our time that we're not doing our jobs, we really want to give back and do things that we love and do things that we're passionate about. And that's really, to me, the purpose of life, to do the things that make you happy and that make you feel full and at peace of mind. Because if you're not, I think that life can just get really tough and really sad and lonely if you're just constantly doing things
Oh
that
yeah,
you don't like just to kind of chase the next status or to chase the next, zero on the end of a dollar
yeah,
amount or whatever, the car, whatever it might be. I think it's finding that fulfillment not in material things or status,
correct.
but in what makes us happy.
When you go to sleep at night, you want to sleep in peace.
Yeah,
You don't want to be thinking, oh, how am I going to pay this bill, or what does this person think about me? You know, did they like what I was wearing? Was my watch the best one in the room that day? You just want to sleep. That's it. Don't want
right.
to think about anything.
So just don't worry. Are you kind of saying like not to worry about what others might think?
Exactly. I mean, you're never going to make everyone happy. It's not
Right.
possible, right? There's always someone who's going to have a bigger car, a bigger house,
Mm-hmm.
more money than you, right? You're never going to be make everyone happy. You're going to go and you're going to make some people happy. Most people are not going to be happy. That's life, right?
And because we're not going to make everyone happy, the only
Concentrate on yourself.
person,
Yeah,
yeah,
concentrate on yourself. Yeah.
focus on yourself. And I mean, like if,
And
your
your family.
family or,
Yeah, and your
friends,
family.
yeah,
The people closest to you.
yeah. I
Okay,
mean, I think that's a good reminder.
yeah. Because guess what? When times get hard, they're the only ones who are gonna stand by you.
Yeah,
Your family and your closest friends, right?
right.
You know the saying, right? It goes, right? Uh, tough times don't last. Tough people do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So always keep that in mind.
Yeah. I think that's a great point and a great reminder because I think like kind of like you said, you might think about, oh, did so and so, that I work with or at that restaurant I ate at, did they, you know, think I looked okay in my suit or was my watch nice enough or whatever? And it's like, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah,
Who
you like it,
cares?
right? You like
Yeah.
it.
You liked
That's
it,
it.
it made you happy, or like,
That's good.
worry about the things that do matter, like the health of your loved ones or,
Your health.
things like that. Your health.
Your
Yeah.
health. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't take on unnecessary stress.
No. Yeah, I think that in a world that it's easy to take on
It's
stress,
very easy. Yeah, very easy.
it's important to be cognizant and conscious of that and not allow excess or outside stress that we don't need into our lives because it's
Correct.
just going to do more damage to us in the long run.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Shahzad, to all of our listeners today, if they want to check out anything that you're doing or maybe even connect with you, see if they can, say hello or pick your brain about anything, what's some ways to connect or is there anything that you want to put out there,
Uh,
social media,
they can
anything that you're
reach
working
me
on?
on my LinkedIn profile. That's the one I uh, look at the most, right?
Okay.
I think that's the best way to get to me is through my LinkedIn profile, and it's my name. You search for my name, you'll find me.
Awesome. Perfect. And I will put Shahzad's LinkedIn in the episode description, so you can click down there as well. Any other like projects or anything exciting that you're working on that you want to talk to the audience about real quick?
It's multiple projects that we work on with the volunteering that we do, supporting international students, supporting newcomers. Those are always ongoing. So
Okay.
if they want to know how we're working on that, they can follow the Brilliant Minds group on LinkedIn as well, and Immigrant Networks on LinkedIn as well to see the work that we do. And if anybody wants to volunteer with us and help us, we are always looking for like-minded people.
Okay. Excellent. And to you have to be in Canada or
You
can
could be
anyone
anywhere
volunteer?
in the world. You could
Okay.
be anywhere in the world.
Okay, perfect. So that's awesome. I will also put those pages, those LinkedIn pages in the description. So if it's something that interests you, or you are looking to volunteer, or you want to see if maybe it might be a good opportunity for you to volunteer to help out, definitely reach out to those organizations. Or I'm sure if you connect with Shahzad on LinkedIn, he can tell you a little bit more about them as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so for coming on. I really appreciate it. Do you have any like last thoughts or message that you want to give to our listeners?
Uh, get out there, uh, look ahead, keep going, keep that grit going,
That's
and be the master of your destiny.
be the master of your destiny. Yeah, I love it. Like you said, keep going, show that grit. I think
Do good,
do
do
good,
good. Yeah,
always
do
do
good.
good. And something that we talked about earlier, if you can, get out there and travel and explore and
Oh,
experience different cultures.
never say no to that.
Never say no to opportunities, right?
Absolutely. Whether it's for traveling, whether it's for meeting people. That's to say, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So take every shot.
Yeah. Take every shot, take every opportunity, seize the opportunity, seize the moment, seize the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Shahzad, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to
It's
be a
been a
part of
pleasure.
this.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome. You take care. I'm sure I'll
Take
talk
care.
to you soon.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Bye.